one section to the next. So this whole plane right here, this area in here, is just a touch darker than this. It's really subtle, but I want to add it in because I like having a little bit more difference between the inside and the outside of this folded piece of paper. I'm a little bit using my artistic license just to add a little more emphasis and oomph, even though the highlight here and here are really similar. This is just a touch darker, so I'm enhancing that. Okay, and now for my last step, I'm going to get in these drop shadows that are being cast on the background that I set up. Took me a minute to find a clean towel in my house to set up as a backdrop. Just a simple white cotton dish towel is all I used. Mostly clean. A few coffee stains here and there, never hurt anyone. So it's this shadow is really dark here, and then it fades into a little bit of a lighter area in this corner. My pencil's too dark, so I'm switching. I'm really only using 3 pencils here, but I encourage you guys to try to use more. Experiment with all the different pencils that you have in your set. And then you could, as the semester progresses, you can kind of pick and choose what you like best. Typically, really, when I'm working on my drawings, I'm using 1 2B pencil for everything. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate how you can use your kneaded eraser to lift some graphite where it might have gotten a little too dark in an area. So right in here, I felt like it was a little too of a rough transition from the dark to the light area. So using a clean area on my kneaded eraser, you can get a clean area by just stretching and folding. And you can get a clean area and then simply press and lift, and it picks up some of the spots. And that's really good if you like the texture of the hatched area. You can actually use your kneaded eraser as a blending tool as well, and I'll show you that now too. Getting a little bit of a sharper point is what I usually like to do. It gives me more control, and actually it's better to have a area that's not super clean, because I don't really want to lift up any graphite. I more want to push it around and smooth it around. So once you start going, you can get a little graphite on your eraser, and then you can just use that to help blend. It is picking up some, it's a newer eraser, so it did pick up some areas of darkness that I didn't want it to, so I'm going to just come back in and sketch that back in. It's a good thing to experiment with and play around with. Okay, back to my cast shadow. Almost done with the demo. I'm actually I learned my lesson from going too dark too fast here. I'm gonna go back to my F. Just smooth this gradation out a little. And then here, it's really dark where the edge of the page is touching visually touching the backdrop, and then it gets a little lighter as it moves farther away. Switching to my softer pencil. There's a pretty dark edge here. It's not exactly a shadow. And now that I'm looking a little farther, one last the area around the orange here. And basically every spot just below the still life has a little bit of a shadow across the whole thing, especially as compared to the background. So I'm going to come in trying to keep my lines somewhat organized and going in the same direction. Fuzzing out this edge a little bit. Giving this a little shadow. It actually does sort of have a shadow now that I look deeper into it. And also just for the sake of the drawing, taking a little bit of liberties to add a few things that really just adding a shadow, a little bit of a hint of a shadow where it may not be so obvious, just to create balance and interest. One last final pop of a shadow in this horizon line here. And I think we can call it done. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you're enjoying value drawing.